It's Wednesday, April 20th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski, bringing you the latest news around southwestern Connecticut. And later in the show, we'll be asking, what's a better value when you need a lift, Uber or a local car service? HAN Network's transportation columnist will break it down in this week's installment of Talking Transportation. And of course, Rob Adams will have a look at the forecast and the latest in high school sports, while Donald Ang takes a look back on this day in history. But first, a lawsuit against gun companies by families of victims in the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting will go to trial in 2 years. The Stratford Star reports that Judge Barbara Bellis on Tuesday set a date of April 3rd, 2018 for the start of a civil trial between Sandy Hook victims' families and the Remington's Arms Company, Bushmaster Firearms, Camphor Holding, and Riverview Gun Sales of East Windsor. Bellis also ruled that the discovery process in the case will begin immediately. Lawyers for the families said the trial date and start of the discovery process marks another major victory for families of victims in their effort to hold gun companies responsible for the Sandy Hook massacre. Bellis's ruling comes a week after she denied motions by the gun companies to have the case dismissed. The families filed their lawsuit in January 2015, seeking damages after the December 14, 2012 shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown. And after computer outages caused delays at Connecticut Department of Motor Vehicle branches statewide, the agency has urged residents to postpone their Wednesday visits. DMV officials say Tuesday's delays were caused by outages of computer processing and severe slowdowns of processes that occurred during customer transactions. The delays then trickled down and negatively impacted wait times. Connecticut residents needing to renew driver's licenses or identification cards have been advised to visit AAA instead of going to the DMV. Customers with expiring credentials have been given a grace period to renew. DMV Commissioner Michael Basra said the agency is aware of the inconvenience and is working to fix it. He said computer problems have plagued the DMV since it switched to a new system last year. And in other news today, the Milford Fire Department rescued a boater in distress yesterday morning. The 911 call came in at about 10 a.m. Tuesday, according to officials. The caller stated that he was duck hunting in a small vessel and unable to return to shore. The boat's motor was unable to overcome a strong tide that was causing the boat to drift out into Long Island Sound. The boater was found approximately 3 miles offshore when the fire department marine unit made contact. The vessel operator was taken on board and was not suffering any injuries. His boat was also towed back to the Anchor Beach shoreline, and it did not sustain any damage. Monroe police have arrested a Naugatuck man in connection with a string of forged prescriptions at local pharmacies. According to police, a 28-year-old Isa Redzepi attempted to fill a fraudulent prescription from a Monroe doctor's office on January 20th. The office called police and told detectives that Redzepi had been in the office earlier that day and had stolen some blank prescriptions from a pad that had been left in the exam room. Police said Redzepi then wrote out a prescription for oxycodone and forged the doctor's signature in an attempt to fill it. The pharmacy called the doctor's office to confirm the prescription and was told not to fill it. Redzepi took the prescription note and left. Further investigation revealed that Redzepi had allegedly forged 2 other prescriptions from the Monroe doctor and had attempted to have them filled at other pharmacies. Police got an arrest warrant for Redzepi, charging him with 6th-degree larceny, 2nd-degree forgery, and illegally obtaining a prescription drug. According to the Associated Press, Wallingford police say a woman was killed and a man was injured when they were struck by an Amtrak train while trespassing on railroad tracks in Wallingford. The incident occurred just after 8 o'clock at night on Tuesday near Old Colony Road. The couple was hit by a Northeast regional train that was headed to Springfield, Massachusetts from New Haven. The 29-year-old man suffered a severe hand injury and was taken to Yale New Haven Hospital for treatment. The 24-year-old woman was pronounced dead at the scene. No one on the train was hurt. Police said it wasn't immediately clear why the couple was walking on the tracks, but Lieutenant Rick Homestead says he hopes that this incident serves as an example of the dangers of walking alongside railroad tracks. And according to the Trumbull Times, a Trumbull mother was arrested for risk of injury to a minor and assault in the third degree on March 30th at Middlebrook Elementary School after her 6-year-old son reported to school officials that he had been hit with a belt. Trumbull police said the 35-year-old woman admitted to striking her child and told police that she was trying to discipline him by hitting him on the rear end. However, the minor moved around during the incident and was struck repeatedly in the chest. According to a report, the child had welts, bruises, and scabs on his chest and both of his arms, the largest of which was a larger circular welt on the chest. The child told the Department of Children and Family Services that he was kept home from school the previous day because of the bruises on his arms. The report added that the Middlebrook student was instructed not to say anything if anyone asked about the abrasions on his body. Police said the mother was called down to the school after the child told officials and a DCF employee about the incident. Police said she was sobbing at the scene and told police she was under a lot of pressure trying to raise 3 children on her own while working a full-time job. A warrant was written for her arrest and she was taken to police headquarters where she was held on a $10,000 bond until her arraignment in court. And in other news, fresh off a big win in neighboring New York that has the businessman back on track to win enough delegates for the Republican nomination for president, Donald Trump is close to sweeping the Connecticut Republican primary next week, according to the latest Quinnipiac University poll. Former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton also has a nearly 10-point lead over Senator Bernie Sanders, according to the Q poll that was released this morning. While the Connecticut Democrats divvy up their 55 convention delegates proportionally based on votes, the Connecticut GOP has a mechanism that awards all 25 of its pledged delegates if a candidate surpasses 50% of the statewide vote. Otherwise, 3 delegates are awarded to the winners of each congressional district, and another 10 are divided among the candidates who win at least 20% of the statewide vote. Trump is close to that 50% mark among Connecticut likely Republican primary voters, while Ohio Governor John Kasich tops Senator Ted Cruz in the race for second place. We'll be breaking down that Q poll more on today's episode of CT Pulse. That's at 12:30. But we're going to switch gears now and throw it over to Rob Adams for a look at the forecast.
All right, Kate, thanks. Good morning, everyone. We have a sunny day and a high near 62. Wind out of the north at 10 to 15 miles per hour. It'll become a little lighter out of the northwest as we move along. Tonight, clear and 38. Now, keep in mind there's a red flag warning from this point until 6 p.m. On today, in fact. So that continues through today with a frost advisory tonight into tomorrow morning with that low around 38 degrees. For Thursday, increasing clouds, high 69. Thursday night, slight chance of showers after 2. Friday morning, mostly cloudy and 52. Otherwise, Friday, slight chance of showers and thunderstorms as we move into the afternoon, mostly cloudy and 72 for the high. To Friday night, more of the same, mostly cloudy and a low of 55. Cloudy and becoming gradually sunny and 66 for Saturday, mostly sunny and 62 for Sunday. Monday, a chance of showers and a high near 55, 54 as we look at Tuesday. So we're kind of dangling right around that, oh, it's really nice and maybe it's not so nice kind of weather. A little bit of a roller coaster right now. It's spring. It is, as they say, what it is. Shelton, we have 58. Darien at 56. Ridgefield, you have 55 degrees, Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Rob. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. Rob has the latest in sports news, and we have some more headlines coming up after this.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well. Until April 30th, choose $150 cash for a Smeg toaster when you open a My Bankwell Choice checking account with a minimum of $2,000.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with the Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Lang, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday right here on the HAN Network.
We're back on this Wednesday edition of your coffee break on the HAN Network, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Lang for a look back on this day in history. Don.
Well, Kate, on this beautiful April 20th, looking outside at the clear blue sky, it is appropriate that we're going to go to baseball for the first couple of items here. First off, 1912, the opening day for Tiger Stadium in Detroit and Fenway Park in Boston. Actually, it wasn't Tiger Stadium, it was Navin Field, and then later Briggs Stadium. If you look closely there, you'll see the trademark overhanging upper deck isn't there. In fact, it wouldn't be until 1938 when the city rerouted Cherry Street to make room for the deck supports Fenway Park, by the way, the oldest Major League stadium still in use. To 1916 we go for another baseball first. The Chicago Cubs play their first game at Weigman Park, which is now known as Wrigley Field. Weigman Park had been built for the old Chicago Whales of the short-lived Federal League. Following the demise of the Federal League, the Cubs moved uptown from the old West Side grounds, their previous home. Chewing gum millionaire William Wrigley bought the team and the stadium 2 years later. The ivy on the walls added in 1937, when manager Bill Veeck and P.K. Wrigley decided the newly renovated outfield bleachers were unsightly. To 1951, Romanian Dan Gavrilo performs the first surgical replacement of a human organ. It was a surgical bypass of the esophagus using sections of the stomach to bypass damaged tissue. The first successful replacement of an organ. After describing the procedure in science literature, he did not really write about it very much as he couldn't afford the publication fees. He was made a Knight Cavalier of the Italian Republic and an emeritus member of the International Society of Surgery in 1983. And finally, we go to 1980 for this.
Midnight and noon today, 23 boats filled with over 800 Cubans reached Key West, Florida. U.S. Marines are now on duty at Key West to keep order among the restless refugees waiting resettlement in the United States. The Coast Guard is urging the Cuban government to adhere to international treaties aimed at protecting lives at sea. Vessels like this one, the Dr. Daniels, were forced to take far more passengers than it has safety equipment for. And getting out of Cuba is still a problem for many. Many of those who have arrived in the States tell horror stories of being beaten by pro-Castro Cubans and secret police. And now reports that the Cuban government has stalled the sea lift operation for at least 12 hours, backing up boats in the refugee-crowded port of Mariel.
That was the first of an estimated 125,000 Cuban refugees from the port of Mariel, just west of Havana, reaching Florida on this date, 1980, after the Castro regime announced that any Cuban wishing to emigrate to the U.S. were free to board boats provided they could arrange to be picked up. That was the start of the Mariel, also known as the Cuban boat lift, on this day, 1980. That is your look back in history, and I am Donald Lang.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, getting back to a little more news today. In Reading, Route 58 was shut down for 4 hours Monday, just north of the Reading Ridge Market, after a landscaping truck clipped a pickup truck on the morning of April 18th, sending the pickup into a Honda Civic. According to police, a driver not licensed to operate a commercial vehicle, 30-year-old Oscar Gutierrez of Norwalk, was driving a large landscaping truck north on Route 58 when he crossed left of center and clipped the pickup truck driving south. The driver of the pickup lost control of his vehicle and crashed into a Honda Civic that was driving behind the landscaping truck before the pickup flipped onto its roof. The driver of the pickup was transported to Danbury Hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. Gutierrez was charged with operating a commercial vehicle without a commercial driver's license and failure to drive in the proper lane. Going to throw it back over to Rob now for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Rob?
Kate, thank you. We had a terrific high school lacrosse game on the HAN network yesterday afternoon, fading into last night as the Greenwich Cardinals visited Staples. How did it go? Pretty well. Check out the highlights. So they'll feed it back, and a good look, and 3-0 like that. Boom. And Greenwich will need a timeout, and they should, because they are out of sorts, guys. Perry loses the handle on it, scoops it back up, feeds it ahead. Harrington all alone. We have a tie game.
And that's a tremendous individual effort there from Will Perry, climbing the ladder to grab that one.
Bruce dances in, looking, the low bouncer, and he scores. So the Wreckers making it work. It's a 6-3 game. They'll go back behind the cage. Sands back there. Takes a look, gives it off. Out in front, and Frank is right. Tie game.
Great call.
For coming out and covering the game. It meant a lot to all of us. Here are the Wreckers with a long stick, tying, getting closer to get this game back to 8. Back out it goes. There's a blast, and Greenwich regains the lead with O'Connor making it 9-8. Little flip over, back to Perry. Perry blasts it! Oh my goodness, 15 yards out. And Greenwich grabs their first 2-goal lead of the day, 12-10. Here's Perry. Perry making his move. Perry puts it on net, and it gets pushed back out of the net. Mercy, Josh Willis took it away. Sends it down low, the tip, and they score to cut it to 1. With a little cut down low from Wood, who's having himself a day, it's 12-11 with 9 seconds to go. But another chance. Behind the net, Reale. The wraparound try. He scores! Yes!
What a finish. Mayhem here at Staples High School as fans are going crazy. What a finish.
Reale wanted it right away after the restart. He noticed he didn't have a Greenwich defender on him. He got possession of it, able to make the strong move to the net, finishes on the backhand. It looked like Cooper Bennett got a piece of it.
Around it goes, far side. The blast, and they score! No, wave it off, excuse me. Not good. Off the side. It looked good at first, it was off the side, and this session will come to an end. It hit the side, but it looked like it went in for a moment. My goodness. No timeout, so they'll back it out again. Zen. Feed it down. The low blast, and they win it!
Why would you use your timeout, Kevin? What were you thinking?
Great finish, great luck. They had the man advantage. You almost knew that was coming.
It was a really smart possession. They did a good job working it around the outside, not forcing any shots. Chamberlain with the big low to high shot on the short side, able to beat Cooper.
So quite a game last night at Staples with Connor Chamberlain getting the game winner in the second extra session. The Wreckers stay perfect at 7-0. Will Perry and Tanner Wood also with big games for each team. As we look at the scoreboard, it was Darien all over Fairfield Ward, Trumbull by 13 over West Hill, Ridgefield a 20-0 win over Trinity Catholic, St. Joseph knocked off Hall, McMahon over Stamford. Moving on in to girls lacrosse now, Darien blasted St. Joseph, while Greenwich got a good win over Danbury. Norwalk took care of McMahon 14-4, Trumbull by 3 over Stamford, Ridgefield a 5-goal win on top of the Staples Wreckers. It was West Hill beating Jonathan Law 12-11, New Canaan by 4 over Wilton in a good battle, and Ward beat Ludlow 7-4. Some other things going on in sports. From the Associated Press, UConn women's basketball coach Gino Auriemma has been released from the hospital where he was admitted Saturday with an undisclosed ailment. The school says the 62-year-old had boarded a plane Saturday morning in Windsor Locks, but decided to deplane because he was not feeling well. He was taken to a hospital for observation and released on Tuesday morning. Savannah Wade of Monroe, a senior at St. Joseph High School, was recently invited to participate in the prestigious 2016 Cheerleading World Championships taking place Saturday, April 23rd, this coming weekend, in fact, at the ESPN Arena in Orlando. She is currently a three-time state champion, national champion, and individual national tumbling champion with St. Joseph, so best of luck to her. That would be Savannah. As we look at the schedule, we'll have boys volleyball later today on the HAN network as the Ridgefield Tigers host the Darien Blue Wave. Game time is now 5 o'clock. Matt Narwhal and I will have the call in high definition. We hope you join us again 5 o'clock later today. It'd be weird to be inside for an event. On the baseball schedule, it's Greenwich and Staples meeting at Staples High. New Canaan is home for Trumbull. That's at Meade Park. Trinity Catholic at West Hill. Stanford goes to Darien. Norwalk home for Bridgeport Central. Ridgefield hosting the Brian McMahon Senators. Danbury at St. Joseph, and Wilton is at Fairfield Ward. From softball, St. Joseph at Danbury. Staples goes to Greenwich. West Hill at Trinity Catholic. Stanford home for Darien. Norwalk is at Central. Ridgefield at McMahon. Wilton home for Ward. New Canaan at Trumbull. Bassick and Fairfield Ludlow also meet. From boys lacrosse, New Canaan is at Norwalk and Wilton home for Glastonbury. Conard visits Staples in girls lacrosse. And we move over to girls golf with Fairfield Ludlow going to Greenwich at the Griffith E. Harris to play there. Wilton hosting Fairfield Ward at Silvermine, and Darien at New Canaan at the Country Club of New Canaan. From boys golf, Greenwich at Bridgeport Central, Ward at New Canaan, Wilton at West Hill, McMahon at St. Joseph, and Darien home for Ludlow. We'll have Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock. We'll also have, as I said, the volleyball coming up later today. Matt and I on the call. That's 5 o'clock now at Ridgefield High School. But with sports, I'm Rob Adams. Kate, back to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Rob. Well, getting back to a little more news today, a federal grand jury in Bridgeport recently indicted 50-year-old Bradford Barneys with conspiring with Timothy Burke in a long-running fraud scheme that targeted distressed homeowners throughout Connecticut, including Easton. Barneys is an attorney licensed to practice in Connecticut and has an office in Bridgeport. Timothy Burke, also known by several other names and nicknames, was originally charged by indictment on February 10th with mail fraud, wire fraud, tax evasion, money laundering, and identity theft offenses. The superseding indictment charges Bradford with additional mail fraud and money laundering counts. According to the indictment, since at least April 2011 and continuing to at least September 2014, Burke and Barneys conspired to defraud individuals, mortgage lenders, and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development by falsely representing to homeowners who were in or facing foreclosures on their homes that he would purchase their homes and pay off their mortgages. Much more on that story at eastoncourier.com. And a Norwalk man was arrested for breach of peace, criminal violation of a protective order, and assault on April 13th after allegedly attacking his girlfriend in the parking lot at the Bowtie Cinemas in Trumbull. Police said that 30-year-old Raheem Covison called Trumbull headquarters and said that a female was trying to stab him with a knife. According to a report, 2 officers responded to the movie theater complex and interviewed Coverson, who was incoherent in giving his statement and slow to respond to questions. While he was being interviewed, the second officer spoke to a bow tie employee who said that Coverson had beaten up his girlfriend in the parking lot after the couple had gone into the theater minutes earlier. Police said a second witness in the parking lot confirmed seeing the suspect get into a verbal argument with the female victim before she was thrown onto the gravel, where he struck her in the face and forcefully held her down. The female victim was found later and testified that she picked up Coverson, with whom she had a full no-contact protective order, to go to the movies. She told police he left the theater shortly after the movie started and never returned. She added that she was afraid he was going to steal her car, and that's when she left the theater and found him in the parking lot trying to break into her vehicle. And in other news, a normally smooth and friendly working arrangement between the Metropolitan Transit Authority and the town of New Canaan has turned hostile and bitter, with a fed-up First Selectman Rob Malazzi sick and tired of being told by the MTA's Dexter T. that owed invoice checks totaling tens of thousands of dollars are in the mail when Malazzi says they clearly have not even been written. Malazzi told the New Canaan Advertiser that it's outrageous. As New Canaan CEO, he said he has tried to chase down the MTA on reimbursements to the town for mandated work that was performed by the police department. Malazzi has been receiving updates on the mostly non-payments from New Canaan staff accountant Beth Strobel, who informed him via email on Friday, April 15th, that they have not received any payments from MTA on 3 outstanding invoices totaling over $45,000, and those invoices are for work that was completed in August and September of 2015. More on that story at ncadvertiser.com. We're going to step out for a break, and when we come back, we're going to be talking transportation and recap some of the top stories today on your coffee break after this. For more than 50 years, SSS has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, SSS will get the job done fast, big or small. At SSS, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at SSSclean.com or 203-847-8000.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Over 70% of wishes granted involve travel, and your unused airline miles can help make kids' dreams become a reality. Plus, once you donate your miles to Make-A-Wish, they will never expire. Donate your unused miles and help the HAN Network share the power of a wish.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened. Grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
For over 25 years, Mike Cizik Painting and Wallpapering has been the name to know for residential and commercial properties in Fairfield County. He uses only the top brands, including Benjamin Moore, for impeccable preparation and lasting quality. Call Mike now and receive $500 off any job over $7,000. Mike is currently accepting reservations for spring, so call him today at 203-770-8869 or 203-972-3310. For your custom painting, finishing, and staining needs, it's Mike Cizik.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Is Uber really a bargain? I'm Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation. Commentary and analysis on getting around in Connecticut. It's been almost 2 years since Uber rolled into town, and that car service since then has really rocked the service of cars and taxis to their very core. But is Uber competing on the same level as taxis and car services? Of course not. That's why it's so successful. I recently spoke with Uber's Connecticut manager, Matt Powers, and Randy Klein, who's the owner of Darienne's Drivers Unlimited car service, to get a sense of how the two services compare. Full disclosure, I have been a paying customer of both companies. While Uber does offer a black car or premium service, my comparisons are with their more popular Uber X service, private cars driven by non-chauffeurs, 7,000 of whom have signed up as drivers in Connecticut in the past couple of years, according to Powers. Let's first look at the vehicles. Car services usually opt for Lincoln SUVs or Lincoln Town Cars. Uber X just requires drivers to have a 4-door car, less than 10 years old, with a trunk big enough to carry a wheelchair. Maintenance. Klein owns and maintains his own car service fleet, inspecting all cars each week. Uber relies on its ex-car drivers to do their own upkeep. Driver screening. Klein says he does his own background checks on top of the DMV screening that's required for a CDL or commercial driver's license. Uber says it does rigorous screening of its drivers, including terrorist watch lists, but requires nothing more than a regular driver's license. Klein's company also does random drug tests of his drivers. Insurance. Klein says he has coverage of up to $1.5 million for every driver incident. Uber relies on the individual driver's personal insurance, but layers a $1 million policy on top when they're driving Uber customers. Ratings. Uber asks drivers and passengers to rate each other after every trip. Klein asks his passengers to rate the drivers, but says it's unfair to allow drivers to rate customers. We're in a service business, he says. Booking. Klein says most of his reservations are made 2 to 3 weeks in advance. Uber doesn't do advance bookings, though in my personal experience, I've never had to wait more than 10 minutes for a car. Fares. Again, this is not an apples-to-apples comparison, but an average car service ride from Darien to LaGuardia Airport is anywhere from $130 to $180 one way. Uber's quote for one of their X cars is about $75. Surge pricing. When demand is the highest, Uber adds a surcharge to fare quotes, sometimes doubling the fare. Klein says his rates are the same, 24/7. If you have problems, Klein says his office can be reached anytime by phone toll-free. Uber's website offers a template to file complaints online. So is Uber really a bargain? Well, let me answer with a hotel analogy. Sometimes I love staying at the Ritz-Carlton with its plush rooms and fabulous service, usually when I'm on someone else's expense account. Other times, a Motel 6 or a La Quinta is fine for me, though there are sometimes a few surprises. I see car services the same way. With a plush Lincoln SUV and chauffeur, you get what you pay for. But sometimes, all you want is to get from home to the airport, and then an UberX is just fine and a whole lot cheaper. I'm Jim Cameron for Talking Transportation.
Thanks as always to Jim Cameron. And before we wrap things up on your coffee break, going to throw it back to Rob for a final look at the forecast. Rob?
All right, Kate, nice day outside. As we glance out the windows, we can see the blue skies overhead, a sunny day and a high near 62. The wind will be your issue from the north at 10 to 15, becoming light northwest in the afternoon. Clear tonight and 38, so with that in mind, you've got a red flag warning now until 6 o'clock tonight and a frost advisory for the overnight hours. But as we move to Thursday, we get increasing clouds and a high near 69. To Thursday night, a slight chance of showers as we move into Friday morning, otherwise mostly cloudy and low 52. To Friday, a slight chance of showers, then a chance of showers and thunderstorms after 2 o'clock in the afternoon, mostly cloudy, high near 72. That's kind of the good news. To Saturday, mostly cloudy, becoming gradually sunny and a high near 66. 62 and mostly sunny for Sunday. Chance of showers, mostly sunny and 55 for Monday, and a chance of showers, partly sunny and 54 for Tuesday. But as we look around right now, Darien up to 57, Ridgefield you're at 55, and right here in Shelton we remain at 58 degrees. I'll see you for Nutmeg Sports at 2 o'clock, and we'll have boys volleyball at 5 from Ridgefield High School, the Darien Blue Wave taking on the Ridgefield Tigers. Kate, back to you.
That's great, Rob. And of course at 12:30, CT Pulse coming up with myself and Josh Fisher. We have a lot to talk about today, including the latest Quinnipiac poll and the Saturday Night Live skit that led to some local backlash. That's coming up at 12:30. We'll see you for Coffee Break tomorrow at 11.